Slushy. What'd you say?
It's good.
3 people.
Okay, we have now been talking about absolute value for quite some time. And yesterday we did a review about absolute value. And I felt like after we left yesterday that maybe we could talk some more about it. And I came up with this flow chart or thinking map to help us see the flow of information.
Flow charts. Now we
Okay, I want you to first take a look here and look on the left side. Look at the size of the boxes. At the top there's a little one, and at the bottom we have a much, much bigger one. I did this on purpose. The one at the very top is our easiest style of absolute value to solve. A little bit harder, a little bit harder, hardest. And I don't mean hardest in the sense that the math is hard, but hardest in the sense that most complicated or most number of steps to use. Okay? So we're going to go through, we're going to just do a quick review, and then you're going to have 2 worksheets to complete with that. So let's take a look at the easiest type. We know when there is an x inside the absolute value marks, we don't have to do any math to it. We take it at face value. There are 2 answers, same exact answer, but one is positive and one is negative. So if I had the absolute value of x equals 10, x then would equal 10 and negative 10. Okay? Right? Let's look at the next type. Now it says the absolute value was stuffed outside. And what I mean by that is something like this, where the stuff is outside, Nick, of the absolute value mark. Okay? The first step is you clean it up or get rid of that stuff outside. And how do we get rid of stuff outside of the absolute value mark? Add it or subtract it, multiply or divide it, right? We do the opposite of the math involved. So how would we get rid of this plus 3? Subtract a 3 from both sides. On this particular type of problem, there are 2 answers, and one is positive and one is negative. The third, and this is one that is a little bit more complicated, which is why it is in a bigger box. Everything is inside the absolute value marks. I don't care if it's 3x plus 57. I don't care if it's 2x. Everything is inside the absolute value marks. There's nothing hanging. There's nothing dangling. There's nothing out there. Okay? When your equation is absolutely inside the absolute value marks, you make 2 equations. And this is yesterday where we had some people get a little bit confused. That's okay. So we're doing it again. You take the exact equation. So if our equation was 2x minus 3, absolute value mark, equals 10, you take and set 1 equal to the positive answer and 1 equal to the negative answer. So it's the same number on this end, but it's one's positive and one's negative. So I would rewrite this as 2x minus 3 equals 10, and this one as 2x minus 3 equals negative 10. Do you see how that shows? Here's one my positive, here's the negative. You solve each of these separately, and you get 2 very different solutions. Okay? And last but not least is the biggest box. And what did I just tell you about it being the biggest box? It is, because it has the most complicated or most steps involved. And what what this is saying is we have a number outside the absolute value mark, and we have all the rest inside. So, for example, if I had 3 absolute value 2x plus 3 absolute value equals 12. That is an example of a number outside with all the rest inside the absolute value marks. Okay? Another example would be if I had absolute value of x minus 2 all divided by 3 equals 4. There's the rest inside the absolute value marks, but there's still something outside the absolute value marks. Okay? When you have that type of problem, you start with dividing or multiplying to get rid of that number outside, which we call A usually. So on this one, since it's divided by 3, how would we get rid of it? What's exactly? We multiply by 3, we multiply by 3. We are now left with absolute value of x minus 2 equals 12.
So in essence,
From there, we make 2 equations because everything is now inside the absolute value marks. And remember, when everything is inside the absolute value marks, we split it into 2 equations, just like we did above. Do you see how this is exactly the same, but just one more step? You have to get rid of the number outside first. So, we would set 1 equal to a positive 12. We'd set 1 equal to a negative 12. We would solve them separately and have 2 very different answers. Okay? So today, you are going to have 2 different worksheets to complete. And I want you to have this out and or your foldable that we made. And I made this with you in mind, very, very intentionally. So if you're looking through on your worksheet and you're like, gosh, I don't know what to do with this problem, I can look, I can say, oh, well, everything's inside my absolute value mark. Oh, I need to make 2 equations. Set 1 equal to a positive answer, 1 equal to the negative answer, solve them separately, and have 2 x values that are very different solutions. Okay? Are there any questions on how you might use this flowchart? Okay, let's go ahead and get your worksheets out then.
Wait, I want to be there.
Okay, say hello, Nick.